Everyone, as you may know, I have been solving Ohio State geometry test questions for a while. So this is going to be another video that I go over the state test questions. This is one of the released test questions. So let's see what it is about. The question is about proving geometric theorems, both formally and informally, using a variety of methods. So the example, the question says two pairs of parallel lines intersect to form a parallelogram as shown. This means line K and L are parallel and line M and N are parallel. Let's read the rest of the question. Place statements and reasons in the table to complete the proof that the opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. So this is the key part. What we need to prove is given as this. Most of the time in your classrooms, probably you seen that two-column proof questions are in this form: statements and reasons, and then you completed the table. But in this case, the statements are given right here. You have 4 different statements and 5 different reasons. You're going to drag and drop to complete the table by using the given statements. So let's see. We need to prove that the opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. First step, identify the opposite angles, because this is what we need to prove. And you remember, what we need to prove should be in the last statement. So first step, locate the opposite angles in the parallelogram. Here's the parallelogram. Right here, the opposite angles. Actually, there's only 2 angles in this parallelogram that are labeled angle 1 and angle 3. We know that these are going to be congruent, but the question asks us to prove it. So the last step, what we need to prove is angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. I know this because this is what it says. So we located the opposite angles, and then let's cancel that statement out. Now this is gone. So we are going to choose 2 of these 3 to place them in here, and then we are going to choose 3 of these 5 reasons and then place them right here. As we were solving the question, I said angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, but the reason is not because their opposite angles are congruent. This is not complete enough. This is not exactly correct. So let's just see what else we know by looking at the figure. So remember, angle 1 and angle 2, when line M and N are parallel, 1 and 2 are called alternate interior angles, and they are congruent. So angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent for sure. And the reason for this, I'm just going to cancel out that. And then the reason for this is their alternate interior angles. Let's see the reason. Alternate interior angles are congruent. I'm going to cancel that one out and then write it up here. Alternate interior angles are congruent. You're not going to type these answers. You're just going to drag and drop the answers in the table. So the next step, by looking at the figure, I can also confirm that angle 2 and angle 3 are congruent because they are called corresponding angles. Now let's just write it up here. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 3. Now we need to cancel this one out. This is gonna go. And then the reason for this is they are corresponding angles right here. Corresponding angles are congruent. Let's type it here. Sorry, corresponding angles are congruent. Now, the last reason is going to be about these 2 statements. So if you go over these, angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, angle 2 is congruent to angle 3. So this leads us to angle 1 and 3 are congruent. It's right here. And the reason is when we combine these 2 statements, because of the transitive property, we can say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Transitive property of congruency. So that's all for this question. And here's a hint about the state test questions. Most of the time, the 2-column proof questions are going to be about transitive property of congruency, or transitive property at least. So please make sure that you know the applications of transitive property and what it means exactly. That's all for this video, guys. Please comment below if you have any other questions. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in another video.